Bill, how's your day going today?
Doing good. Yeah, guys, had a good 3-hour run this morning, meaning the show. And tell you what, they all go fast. I don't know that I've ever done a show, guys, where I was looking at the clock. That's how fun it is, the things we get to do with our job.
That's what happens when you get a crazy Saturday like last week. I mean, it's like, take your pick. You want to go the Big Ten game of the week or maybe the year. You want to go with the Red River rivalry. Arkansas-Mississippi was as entertaining a game as you could ever see. Why don't we start with A&M upsetting Alabama and all the storylines that go along with that. But, I mean, the big thing is Alabama lost, and I think a lot of us were of the opinion that we might have been looking at Alabama versus Georgia twice this year. And, well, less than a week later, that theory takes a giant hit.
There were no signs that this could happen. Now, some may say, well, Bill, what about the Florida game? Yeah, they after the first quarter, Florida roughed them up pretty good. There were still no signs, though. This is an A&M team that couldn't move the ball against Colorado. Lucky to win that game. Lost to Arkansas, obviously, fair and square there, and lost to Mississippi State at home. Calzada, the backup quarterback, Zach Calzada, had not played well. And, again, totally took me by surprise, guys. I did not see that coming. I didn't even entertain the thought of that happening.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was completely nuts. And I think it hurt a lot of Arkansas fans to have just even a tiny bit of happiness for A&M just because Alabama loses. And everybody kind of celebrates that.
Right.
The other thing I want to hit at here on that game is it did seem like A&M got a pass rush again. We didn't see much of that against Arkansas, and so much for A&M was about that front seven, the defensive line. They had so many returners from it. They didn't really look terrific. They had some moments against Arkansas, but they pressured Bryce Young. They got him to the ground 4 times, and I mean, I was totally surprised by Calzada. But I remember the first 4 or 5 weeks, I'm thinking, what happened to this Texas A&M defensive line? They were back.
Yeah, and got to remember, Alabama's coming off an impressive win over Ole Miss. I mean, that game wasn't competitive, really, once you got going. And I think Ole Miss is probably, on average, a better team than A&M. We didn't think so preseason, but I think so probably now. And, again, guys, transitive property or just player on player, I'm totally shocked at what happened.
I think most people, outside of College Station were incredibly shocked. And staying in the state of Texas, at least that's where the game took place at the Cotton Bowl, the great comeback by OU led by true freshman Caleb Williams. And while he played outstanding, you got to think that Spencer Rattler's time at OU is beginning to, come to an end. How do you think he'll be remembered at OU now that he's been pulled from not only just a game, but the Texas game, and especially if Caleb Williams goes on to have the type of future that we saw that he could have against Texas?
You go from Heisman favorite to benched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any way he can stay unless he gets the job back. He can't. He's not thinking about name, image, likeness, and that money either. He's thinking about Sunday money going down the toilet right now in his career. Here's the other thing about him, guys. I don't know if you've watched, and I'm not Mr. Body Language expert, but his body language is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a guy who has no confidence at all in his ability. And he also looks like a guy who's probably never been faced with that. Now, last year he got yanked in the Texas game and then came back. But he's probably never had any. This guy's been Johnny 5-star since he's been about 14. He's struggling, not only with his game, but I think he's struggling mentally with this. And supposedly now Caleb Williams is getting more of the one snaps this week. And if he goes in and he continues this kind of play, I don't know what Rattler can do but lead. And then his legacy, you asked about it, obviously would be tarnished because he didn't get it done. And there's no excuse. Oklahoma's got as good a quarterback reputation since the beginning of Bob Stoops, not just to mention Lincoln Riley, as any program in America. It would not be a good look for the resume.
No, it definitely wouldn't. And when you're following in the shoes of just in the Lincoln Riley era of 2 Heisman Trophy winners and 3 guys now playing on Sunday to be the first one that didn't work out is something I don't think anybody wants to be. From OU, who's somehow still undefeated, shockingly, to kind of the new darling of the SEC after Arkansas's run was kind of cut short by Georgia. Kentucky now going up against Georgia. Are they running into the same buzzsaw, or do you think Mark Stoops has a different plan that nobody's thought of?
This is a test your manhood game for both. Kentucky is a very physical, well-coached football team. I don't think they go in there and win, though. I think you look at roster talent, you look at player on player. I don't know that Kentucky can run into the teeth of that Georgia front. Obviously, they just bullied LSU. They bullied LSU like LSU should bully them. Mm-hmm. That's what happened in that game. Christian Rodriguez is a 225-pound downhill running back. They've got a really good offensive line. Is it good enough to beat Georgia? No, I don't. I think that spreads around 23. Now that might be a little big, but I just can't, guys. I can't do the math on that one.
Bill, what do you make of the Arkansas offense? You know, I mean, you could look. Was Mississippi really that more improved defensively over the first 4 weeks? Yes, Arkansas exploited them in many ways this past Saturday at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. They've got big play guys at receiver, at running back, starting to develop Trey Knox at tight end. KJ Jefferson looks like a top-tier quarterback in the SEC. What do you make of this Razorback offense?
Trey Knox is a Burrow kid right down the road in the Burrow, Murfreesboro. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Arkansas's got the best receiver in the league, maybe in the country. He's one of them for sure. And I thought it was wonderful. Now, Ole Miss is much improved defensively, but guys, you got to admit they didn't field the defense a year ago. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have to factor that in a little bit. But no, Arkansas's offense is a beautiful thing to watch. That's the best game I've seen all year. And it was exhilarating to have that game on and the Red River Shootout on together. And usually I've got several monitors up like everybody. But those two got isolated. They were so good. And I liked everything about it except, and I know this is picky, but the last call on the two-point conversion, unless they think this is Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, I don't like the roll out to the short side in a compressed field. Mm. And then the right side of your offensive line gives up a bunch of players who are rushing, and he's now retreating. I knew right when I saw him roll out, they're screwed on that play. I know you can't just pull out one, but that's the one right there, and I did not like that play call.
Yeah, pushed all the right buttons until that moment. That's for sure. What do you think about this Arkansas Auburn game? Maybe the best way to pose this question is: what are your impressions of Auburn under Brian Harsin? And I mean, he's got two of the best assistants in the league. This is a head coach that's got two former head coaches as his OC and his DC. What are your impressions watching Auburn these first few games?
I'm neutral. I'm not down on him. He's the new coach. Let's bash him. I'm not shockingly excited about the difference he's made. I'm neutral. I'm still processing it. Bo Nix is running around like he's Johnny Manziel. He's not, but he's running around having to make plays like that. He's made some really big plays doing that. Can't do that much against Georgia. This is a tough game, I think, both ways. I mean, I think the talent level is probably relatively similar. Quarterback at Arkansas, I like better. This is a big game for both these programs, too, at least for this year. You start adding up losses. If Arkansas gets to 3 losses in a row, I'm not calling for capitulation, but that's starting to dirty up the resume a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Bill, we appreciate you, man. Enjoy the games this weekend.
Okay.
We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for another football season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With the new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for everything football. Head to your website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of these amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.